UFC Shanghai is just around the corner, and you know I got some bets down. Also, we got Road to UFC taking place early Friday morning. It won't be long after this video's out that it will be taking place. I got a few bets for that too. I'll be getting into all that, but before I do, let's do a quick recap of the last week. All right, so we got a lot of MMA these last 2 weeks. So PFL World Tournament 9, I got 0.4 profit on that because of Juliana Velasquez redeeming herself. Then UFC 319, I just got absolutely slaughtered, just brutalized. I lost 4.7 units on that. I just really got destroyed on that one. It's been a minute since I've had one that bad. But Dana White Contender Series Week 2 turned things around, got 2.77 back. So for the entire week, I lost 1.5 units. Just that UFC 319 really wrecked me. Could have been a lot worse if I didn't have the PFL and Dana White Contender Series. So now it's time to rebound from a losing week. Let's get into all my bets. All right, first up, we got Road to UFC. So only one book where I'm at had lines for these, and they only had it for these two fights. I also wanted to put a little bit of something on Aaron Teyu. I believe that's what his name is. He's just the guy that's got the tattoos on his face that was on Dana White Contender Series. He looks like he's over there just wrecking dudes, and he's probably just going to run through this tournament, in my opinion. So I would have hit that money line up if I had an option. But I got Bruna Brazil money line at minus 305. It's a little bit higher than I wanted it to be, but I still think she's just going to completely outclass Mingxi. I love Mingxi. I think it was awesome in her last fight with the head kick and the post-fight interview, but I just don't think she's on the level of Bruna Brazil. Bruna Brazil is back down at strawweight, and I think she's a solid fighter. I think she gets the W. Little chalky, but I'm gonna go for it, and I got 3.25 on that. And then last up for Road to UFC, we got Terrence Saturn money line minus 117 on the odds. He's going up against Tumen Dembarel. And I think this is kind of a toss-up fight, really, but just from the footage I watched of Saturn, he looks nice and scrappy, and he looks kind of well-rounded. And, I think he's just going to have the better stand-up skills than Tumen Dembarel, and it looks like the grappling, they should be able to kind of just go back and forth on that. So I'll take a chance on the newcomer. Got 1.25 on him, and that's it for the Road to UFC. Let's get into all my UFC bets. So here's all my straight bets for UFC Shanghai. We're kicking things off with Kevin Borjas, money line, plus 152 on the odds. I think he's a good underdog spot. I think he's an underdog worth taking a shot on at those odds. And I just believe him and Sumo Diarji will be going the distance, and it might be a close fight, and I'll take a chance on the dog on that. And I got 0.7 on for a wager on him. Then next up, we got Lonar Kavanaugh money line minus 200. It's a little higher than I would like, but I also saw it, at like minus 230 at certain places. So I thought getting it at minus 200 is a decent. I would like it a little bit better, but I think it's decent. I think he's an interesting prospect. This is a really good fight for him. I think he should win it. I think he should be the favorite, but it's we're going to be learning a lot about Lonar Kavanaugh here. And I'm just taking a chance on this prospect. He's already got UFC experience, and let's see how he does against Charles Johnson. So I've got 2 units on Lonar Kavanaugh. And then last up for the straight bets, we got Sergey Pavlovich and Waldo Cortez Acosta going the distance, plus 164 on the odds. Got 0.7 on that. I just think with the way that Acosta fights, and, I think he's actually solid on the feet, and I don't know if he's just going to get knocked out, early in the fight. I think it's a possibility, but I also think there's a really good chance that he gets through it and this fight sees the scorecards, and he might even win it. So I just figured I'll take a chance on this going to the scorecards. Doesn't matter who wins it as long as it goes the distance. And yeah, that's it for the straight bets. Let's get into some parlays. All right, so here's a 2-leg parlay. We got Naraji and Crosby under 1.5 rounds, paired up with Yiza and Wilson going under 1.5 rounds, plus 166 for them put together, 0.7 for the wager. I just think both these fights are probably not getting out of the first round, so put them together. It's kind of some juiced up unders on those, so just put them together and take a chance on the parlay. And I got one more parlay before I get into the long shots. So here's another two-legger. We got Johnny Walker and Zhang Mingyang, round one finish, paired up with Brian Ortega and Aljamain Sterling going the distance. Plus 141 on the odds, 0.7 for the bet on that. I just think Walker and Zhang, Zhang's on a crazy first-round KO streak. Walker's got a lot of first-round finishes and losses himself. So there's just the odds of this ending in the first round are really high, in my opinion. It was juiced up at minus 200. So I'm not going to place a minus 200 bet for just a prop. So I got to pair it up into a parlay. I got that Ortega and Sterling fight going the distance, even though it's 5 rounds. Unless some crazy stuff happens in this fight, I just don't see how it doesn't go the distance. So I think Aljamain's going to win it, but it just won't matter who wins it as long as it goes to the scorecards. I think this one can come through. And so last up, I got some long shots to get into. Here they are, the long shots. We're starting things off at Mahashate by decision, plus 230 on the odds, half a unit on it. I just think this fight that he's in, I think there's a very good chance it sees the scorecards. And, hey, he might get a favorable decision. I don't know. I'll take a chance on it for a long shot, though. And then next up, we got Michel Pieta, round one, plus 350.3 on it. I got plus 350 on this. I saw it at like plus 225 at other places. So I was really surprised to get this at plus 350. And he's got a lot of first round finishes. He was on a really good streak before he went on his losing streak. And he's fighting a guy who's come in on short notice and isn't durable and has been finished before. I think he gets it done quick, or, who knows after that. If Michel Pieta doesn't finish the fight early in the first round, it's kind of unpredictable on what's going to happen after that. But if he's facing a higher level opponent, he's definitely going to lose. That's for sure. But I think he's going to win this fight. And then last up for the long shots, we got Rongju finish plus 300, 0.4 on that for the bet. I just think Austin Hubbard, I think he's a tough guy, but just being, in China, I think Rongju is going to come in there with something to prove. He looked really sharp in his last fight. And I think if he hits Hubbard with some of them shots he hit Cody Steele with, he might be able to get a finish, maybe even a submission. So I'm going to take a chance on that. So that's it for my long shot props. And as I always do, I got them paired up into a round robin doubles. So that's 3 separate bets with a quarter of a unit on each bet. And if only 2 of them hit, I'll still get a small bit of profit. And then last up, I got them all 3 in a 3-leg parlay. That's Mahashate decision, Michel Pieta round 1 finish, and Rongju finish. Got all 3 of them paired up into just a one parlay plus 5,840 on it. Got a quarter of a unit on it. And if that hits, if all 3 of them come through, we're looking at some major profit for this event. So that's all my bets. For Road to UFC and UFC Shanghai, for both events together, I've got 11.5 units at stake. And if everything hits, if every single one of those bets come through, we're looking at 36.2 units of profit, which would be insane. So hopefully some of these long shots come through and we get this weekend kicked off right. That's it for me. Until next time.